Volkswagen has launched its second SUV in 1 month. So is it business as usual? Well, not quite, because the T-Roc was launched digitally with no people around for a price of 19.99 lakhs. And talking to me about it, adequately socially distanced, is Steffen Knapp, the head of the Volkswagen brand in India. Steffen, thanks for talking to us. And thanks for maintaining these these gaps, these distance. Just jumping straight first into the whole coronavirus outbreak and really the havoc it has caused in the industry. Just your thoughts on it, and how do brands like yourself, which are launching new products, put this into the market when, quite frankly, the last thing on anyone's mind right now is to buy a car?
Definitely, I think it's a tragedy what's happening there. I think the world is heavily affected, and we have to react as normal citizens as well as companies. So for us, we have two top priorities, to be clear. The first one are our customers, so we need to make sure that they are keeping and staying mobile in these times. So we are taking all our precautions what we can do in order to be there at their side if they have some issues with our vehicles. And the second important topic, obviously, is the safety of our employees. So we are taking decisive steps, for instance, here in India, where we are giving a lot of opportunities to our people to work from home, to be in the safe and not sitting in public transportations, for instance. And if we require them, we are individually taking them from their homes to our offices.
To giving them private transportation?
Yes, because it's obviously when you sit in a train in India, safety is not there. And that is for us utmost importance. We are having all necessary support from our doctors. Obviously, we have the normal infrastructure like sanitizers in the office. We give them clear indications how to wash their hands, and all these kinds of necessary information is there. And so far, I'm pretty proud to say that we do not have any cases in the Volkswagen Group at all so far. So these are the top priorities. When it comes to business, clearly, we are affected as everybody. You have supply chains which are broken. We decided that, for instance, the brand Volkswagen is going to close down its facilities, its plants from Thursday onwards tomorrow in Europe, because it doesn't make sense. The demand is not there. People are just preoccupied with the disease rather than looking to buy a car. Yeah? But I personally also feel that life must go on. Yeah? And that's also the reason why we decided, even though the demand at the moment might be dipping a little bit, we have to give also the signal that we are here, that we are launching new cars, that we believe in the business of India, and that's the reason why we took a different route. We made a digital press conference today, clearly saying, I don't want you to be in a difficult situation, gathering a lot of journalists in one place, flying from all over India. That doesn't make sense. Do it differently, but also giving the statement we want to keep the business, and we want to believe that business also going to normalize.
Right. So let's jump straight to the products right now. You had, the Tiguan Allspace and now the T-Roc also. You had planned this. Just to get a sense, how's the response been? I know, with the outbreak, with the whole issue of coronavirus, everyone really been, the world engulfed and consumed with this disease. Obviously, it's not business as usual, but what is your sense on the response? Because these are CBUs. They are you carry the import duties in the price, so obviously that can have some impact, but small volumes as well. So what's the response been?
Well, there are three reasons behind why we did this. Now, first of all, we wanted to clearly showcase that our future is in SUV and massively go into SUV. And I think the public as well as the customers really understood that message, starting from the Auto Expo until now. So we really build this up, and people really understand what we want to do in the future and where we want to go to. When it comes to sales results and reactions of the customers, it's really nice to see. Yeah? So we had opened the bookings without any price indications at the Auto Expo, without no further incentives or something. We just had opened it, and the amount of response is really, really promising for us. To the extent, I have to tell you a little bit that I'm a little bit nervous, because as you rightly said, the volumes are restricted, and we might be running out of the volumes very fast. So it's really, really, really nice to see that there's a lot of demand for quality, safety, fun to drive from Volkswagen. And with these vehicles, we are spot on in the customer mind.
So I want to talk a little bit about the 2,500 volume limit for a homologation-free import. Clearly, this is to be shared with the group. At one time, Skoda was a separate company. Now you've just got one company, so it has to be shared with all the Volkswagen brands. So there is a fear that you might run out. Obviously, you would have a quota. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because in this financial year, I think you've had 100% of the quota, which might not be the case going forward.
Yes, first of all, let me say perhaps I think it's a good idea of the government to allow this to manufacturers, because we can test and prove the ground a little bit before we decide either we go in P&C route, or we go to the route that we locally homologate, or we go to the route that we locally manufacture even. Yeah? So we can test the ground if there's some elasticity for the vehicles. So that's a good decisive step. In this case, you're fully right. We've been a little bit faster, so we were able to get our quota into the last financial year. A little bit sweating, yeah, so we were actually monitoring even the ships. No?
Were you worried, because I think some of your cars come from Mexico, via China, and so just to make it in time before March 31st.
Exactly. So we had one person who was responsible for those vehicles, monitoring them on a daily basis on a GPS screen, so we could see whether those ships are coming or not. Yeah. So, and there was one incident when our Allspace is actually produced in Mexico, so quite a while, kilometers away. The ship was stuck in front of Shanghai and it was not moving for almost 2 weeks, and we said, what the hell is happening there? But they had renamed the ship. So the ship was basically already at Kerala, and we were very relieved to see it. So it was kind of a stressful position, but it was good for us because we were able to get the vehicles into the country. They're all customs cleared and they're all here, and we can now sell off those vehicles.
And no pressure on registration, because being BS6, you can even register them after April 1.
Up to the mark in terms of standards. They all use 6 cars from Europe. Yeah, specification, European specification, so there is no problem.
Which leads me again to BS4 and BS6 registration, which is now, we've just got 10 days for the deadline. Supreme Court has clearly said no. I think, what are your thoughts on it? Because some manufacturers had kind of planned to sell it off towards the latter half. Have you managed to clear off all your stock, and do you think it's fair for the industry to at least ask for a bit of an extension? Because again, this whole disease is unprecedented. It's changed the world, and perhaps this is the time to ask for help.
Yeah, so we always planned for the 1st of April, because at Volkswagen clearly we are adhering to the emission standards of the countries. That's for us, given also our background a little bit, very important. So we had planned precisely. We have no stock left. It's gone. All about 4-stage cars in the country at dealers at our NSC are sold off to customers, which gives me also a good feeling, because it's important for the residual value. The earlier you get this change done, the better it is that you don't have to give so much discount in the marketplace. And for us, our strength is the confidence of our customers in our product in terms of stability of price, and that we manage pretty well. Once it comes to our colleagues, obviously I understand there are different situations from manufacturer to manufacturer, and I can understand them that they are asking, because they are sometimes hit harder. I can only say I'm coming out of the position that I did it pretty smoothly. Our dealers are not in danger with this. It's all done. But if some situations occur in some other brands, I understand them, and we should definitely support them there.
That's very, very generous and very noble of you. But, again, sticking to, let's say, BS6, you are going into a new phase where, frankly, there's no diesel at all right now. And to be honest, I missed the punchy diesel in some of the SUVs, because it's so intrinsic to an SUV. Do you think it's a matter of customers adapting, and, or there might be a little bit of concern? You might not have the same volumes which you had earlier, and then they might pick up. What are your thoughts on this, the customer response to a BS6 era, especially with the Volkswagen brand?
Let me first of all be clear. Our TDI is a fantastic engine, and they are fantastically to drive. And we as a group, we are continuing to invest into this technology. Yeah, that is very important to say. But it's a more complex answer on this. You have to split it. If you ask me personally in terms of value, what customers are prepared to pay here in India, on the small side, the diesel will slowly go out of the marketplace.
The small diesels.
Yes. So you on a Polo, for instance, if you look at numbers, 3 years ago we were selling around 60% diesels. At the end of the year, in 2019, we were selling 11%, and this we had to push because we had to take a certain quota because we were producing the 1.5 liter TDI here locally. Yeah. So I think this is just the business case, and the value for money proposition is not fitting in the future. In particular, with Bharat Stage 6B coming into place, then you have to have the SCI technology in the vehicle to achieve it. I don't think there is a future for that. Yeah? If you go to the big cars, I believe there is. So there's room for it. Yeah? And we said we are initially going with petrol only to make also a clear statement. But we're at the same time looking into the 2-liter TDI technology.
There'll be a comeback.
I'm not saying there will be a comeback, 100% sure. We have to test and we have to see what is elasticity, because look at Volkswagen. Yeah, we are mainly represented in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Yeah, so that means the Chennais, the Mumbais, and those people are not driving many kilometers. And if you have the pleasure to drive a 2-liter TSI 190 horsepower on an old space, for instance, very smooth ride. It's very nice to drive, and the torque is enough with this vehicle to overtake fast. So I think in our case it makes sense to start with TSI, also to make clear that is our belief. Yeah, but the moment we are getting more in tier 3 and tier 4 cities, which we have to, because when India 2.0 comes into place, I'm pretty sure that a diesel would make sense for those vehicles too.
Right. So could a step be that you again use the import homologation free route to test diesels as well? I mean, that could also be a logical step. So we could see diesels imported, diesel models imported as a first step.
We're actually testing it already, no? And we are testing your 6 diesels
in India.
In India, just to let them run and to see what is the reaction, no? In terms of fuel quality, in terms of the environment here, and all these very important factors, so that we have really some data available to see.
Right. And again, sticking with SUVs, you showed your, you've shown the Taigun in Delhi. That's been your, let's say, your big baby for India 2.0. That's really going to be, let's say, the starting point. Very important product. Looking ahead already, which I'm sure you all are, a sub 4 meter SUV is a very logical thing to do. I think you had also told us that that's something that you're looking at. Just want to understand the market for that. I mean, is it easy to do? Would you need more partners for that? Because it's only an India-specific model. There are not too many regions where you could do that. South America, yes, but clearly, their regulations don't allow easy export over there. So just sub 4 meter SUV opportunities, and can we expect one?
Clearly, if we as Volkswagen say that our future lies in SUV, then we have to look at all categories of SUVs. Yeah? So we are currently starting for the bigger ones. Then we come with a classical compact SUV, like you said, the Taigun, and the sub 4 meter category could be a possibility. Having said this, there's no day I'm not lighting a candle in my house, and I'm asking you also to join me in giving this candle, that the government is so clever to delete the sub 4 meter category, which would help me as a Volkswagen company or group extremely. Because we have a lot of vehicles available which we could sell in this country, in which we could, let's say, make driving in India more safe, more quality oriented, and more fun to drive. Yeah? But I don't believe that this will fall very fast, so the sub 4 meter category will stay on. So we have to look into this category, because there's the volume. I believe that the A00 SUVs, how we call them, will steadily but grow further. They will take on even some hatch elements, because the proposition is pretty interesting with a higher seating position.
But the volume is there in India, but you don't have global volume for. Well, so is that a challenge?
I personally believe everything depends on the execution. Yeah. So if you have a car which is designed in a proper way, size doesn't matter, as long as you have the package. Look. Our Taigun is, from an overall size point of view, as you know, smaller than our competitors. But if you look at our wheelbase, it's larger than all of our competitors. So, and with this, we are able to make a very nice package in the vehicle. So the size as such is not the decisive step. It's the wheelbase, what you have, and the package you can offer to your customers. And if I can get a sub 4 meter SUV, then I can sell this also in Mexico, in Brazil, all around the world. Yeah, in South Africa, where we are exporting our vehicles too. Yeah, so I think it's definitely that's a possible business case to look at. Yeah, but we have not decided yet. So
right.
For me, my focus is now. I'm very happy to be in the position to launch 2 new vehicles in 1 month, to make a clear statement where we are going as a company. I'm very happy in 2021 to launch a very nice vehicle. I think the feedback we got at the Auto Expo was really overwhelming, very, very positive. That gives me hope and confidence that this brand is really going to be a sustainable brand, which is my vision since the beginning I'm here, to become a sustainable brand in India in order to really to be sustainable for my entire ecosystem.
Right. And last question, Steffen, again looking at 2020, a year that's possibly very, very difficult to predict. First, we don't know when we are going to get out of the current situation we are in. So any thoughts, any predictions? Are you just going to take it a week at a time like most of us are doing?
It's exactly what you say. No, if you had asked me 2 or 3 months ago, I would have said, let's say the first quarter will be a little bit higher in sales because a lot are selling off their Bharat for stage 4 cars, so there will be some demand coming. And then we will have a drop in the second quarter, and then in July we should see really industry growing again. That was our assumption, that was our plan. Now with this crisis coming into place, it's difficult to predict. I think decisive are the next 3 weeks in India in terms of how the coronavirus is going to develop. Yeah? That's the same what is in Europe at the moment. In Europe, we're doing everything what we can do to prevent the exponential curve going up. If India, which I have hope, I'm praying every day, that this is not going to tackle this country so much, then it could be past going back into the normality. But I'm not Harry Potter, I really don't know. Yeah? So we can only pray that this is not going to happen.
Well, we can all pray that we get over this very difficult period and that we all stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.